folks, my name is Ryan from TA Appliances and Barbecues. You know me, but you might not know our new friend, Matt. Hello, Matt. How you doing back there?
Hey, everybody. How you doing today?
All right, so Matt's gonna help us out here. You know, he's gonna show us a little dish to make at home in your KitchenAid kitchen, all right? He's gonna be in our KitchenAid kitchen using the induction cooktop, right? It's gonna be a lot of fun. Isn't it, Matt?
Oh yeah, super fun. Super fun, super delicious.
All right, so don't go anywhere. Stick around and enjoy the show, folks. All right, let's go.
So today we're gonna be making a super delicious, super creamy beet risotto with some maple candied walnut, a lemon creme fraiche, and some sage chips that we have prepared here. I'm just gonna get some walnuts into the oven. You want your oven set to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. You wanna toast these walnuts off. It's gonna take about 15 to 20 minutes to toast these off. So we're just gonna get those in the oven right away here. All right, so now we're gonna head over and get started on our risotto. We're gonna be making a risotto on this beautiful induction cooktop from KitchenAid. It's gonna be super handy for us because risotto, as everyone knows, can be a little bit messy, and this one cleans up super easy. It also has a rapid boil feature, which is perfect for our chicken stock. We need to get that to a boil. So we're gonna turn on the cooktop right now, select your burner, and it's got a nifty little slider here. We're gonna take it all the way to boost, and that's gonna bring our chicken stock to a boil super fast, about 2, maybe 3 minutes. All right, so while the chicken stock comes to a boil, we're gonna start sweating off some onion and some garlic. So we're gonna just turn on our burner over here to maybe a level 5, level 6. Nice little low temperature for sweating out. We're gonna add a little bit of oil to the pan, let that heat up. All right, so over here we have about 1/4 of a small onion and 2 cloves of garlic. We're just gonna get that into the pan. Also, another good tip while you're sweating off your onions and garlic, get a little salt in the pan. That's gonna start pulling out some of that water from the vegetables, and that's gonna help keep you from getting too much color developed and really start helping making them soft. So you can see now the onions, they're a little bit more translucent. The garlic is also starting to kind of blend in with the onion there. So now it's kind of the perfect time to get your rice. You wanna make sure you're using arborio rice. Arborio is like the best for risotto. It's an Italian rice. Gonna add about a cup of arborio rice to that onion and garlic. It's one of those tricky things. It's like pasta where, you know, you add a little bit and next thing you know, you have 50 portions, enough to feed a whole city. So now that our chicken stock's starting to come to a boil, we're also just gonna turn down the heat on that. So we're gonna bring our chicken stock over. And the first time you add chicken stock to your risotto, you can go pretty heavy with it. You don't wanna go too crazy. Stovetop's just gonna beep at you, let you know that it's no longer detecting a pan on it. Now that we got our first little bit of chicken stock in the pan, we can turn up the heat on our risotto here. One of the really cool features about this cooktop in particular is it actually has the bridge zones between the 2 burners on the side. We're not gonna use that today, but we might use it in an upcoming video. So for your first little bit of adding chicken stock to your risotto, you don't want it to get completely dry. Once you start getting closer to the end point, that's when you're gonna start letting it reduce more before adding more chicken stock. But right now you can see like all the rice is just barely covered. It's starting to peak up from below the chicken stock level there. So around this point, we're just gonna add a little bit more chicken stock to it. And again, we're pretty early in the cooking process, so you can have a bit more chicken stock. I wouldn't be adding that much near the end. So I'm gonna get started on the maple candying for the walnuts. We got those walnuts in the oven. We got a nice little small pan here. We're gonna get it on some low heat. To that, you're gonna add about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of sugar. And then normally when you're making a caramel, you wanna add water to it. We're not gonna add water, we're gonna add maple syrup. And again, we want it to be like pretty strong maple flavor, so we're gonna add about equal parts maple syrup to sugar with this one. You don't wanna play with your caramel too much. That's gonna cause it to crystallize. You kinda just wanna get it on and let it sit. I don't want it to go too crazy, so I'm only gonna use like a power level 8 here. One of the hard parts with caramelizing maple syrup is it's already brown, so you don't really have the color to work off of. You kinda gotta look at the bubbles. And you'll see a very distinct change from when it's water that's boiling, creating the bubbles, to when it's sugar that's boiling. And you kinda wanna take it to, you can get a nice clean top with the small bubbles. That's when you know that you have it pretty well perfect for candying. So at this point, I'm just gonna kill the heat on it. We don't need any more heat, just the residual from the sugar in the pan itself. And one of the other great things about induction, if you have kids at home, you don't have to worry about it being too hot because the cooktop itself isn't what's creating the heat. It's heating up the pan. So the cooktop itself, caramelized sugar, and then I can touch that, not burn myself. So you can see now our walnuts are nicely toasted. So before we combine those, we need to take a little bit of butter. We need to grease up a bowl because we're gonna be using the bowl to really make sure that our walnuts get coated properly. Made a little bit of a mess stirring the risotto. One of the great things about induction, a nice flat cooktop, you can just wipe that mess right away. Easiest cooktop to clean. We're just gonna turn down the heat on that while we take care of our walnuts here. So again, we got the sugar going. We're gonna turn off the heat on that. To that, we're gonna add about a tablespoon of butter. It's gonna start sizzling at you. You're gonna wanna stir that in pretty quickly. And then we can get our walnuts in there. Again, you need the walnuts to be hot or else the sugar's gonna start seizing. But hot walnuts, hot sugar, and you can give it a nice toss, get it all coated up nicely, and then straight into the bowl. And this is where it's gonna start separating into being individual walnuts. It's gonna cool them down. Might have to give it a bit of a hand here, a little bit too much sugar, but makes them tastier. Also, at this point, you can add a little bit of salt to it. That's also gonna force the sugar to start crystallizing and give you a really nice clean finish.
Can I have one?
They are gonna burn your mouth.
Oh, they're that hot already?
They are super hot. They are molten hot, but give me an extra minute and you can absolutely have one.
All right, I'll be waiting.
They do smell delicious though, don't they?
Oh God, yeah.
So coming back to our risotto, you can see that the liquid's mostly absorbed now. We got a nice color to our rice, so we can turn off the heat on our chicken stock. And we're gonna get our beet juice in there, get the heat back on it, cook this out a little bit more, and then we're gonna finish it with some butter and some cheese. So I'm just adding about a cup of beet juice to this. And you're gonna see right away, it's gonna start taking on that nice bright purple color. How about you try one of those walnuts? Woohoo! Super candied, super delicious, and you can see the salt's really made that sugar crystallize, so it doesn't have that glossy finish. It's got a nice like crunchy coating on it.
Yeah, man. Oh, those are toasty and warm and delicious.
And our risotto's just about where we want it now, so we can turn off the heat on that. Almost all the liquid's gone, so now we're gonna add in some butter to that. We're gonna go with about 3 tablespoons. Can't go wrong with butter and risotto. And then we're gonna add some Parmesan to it. Lots of cheese is gonna make it super delicious, super creamy. So don't be shy when you're adding Parmesan to it. We're gonna cut that out.
Yes, you think. I'm keeping it in.
So once you get a nice pile there, that's when you're gonna wanna stir it in. Get that butter incorporated. Gonna mix with that really starchy chicken stock and beet juice that we have left there. And that's all gonna come together. It's gonna emulsify. You can see it's already starting to get a bit paler in color. That's the emulsification happening. If you're too gentle when you're adding that in, it's gonna split out. Give it a little taste to see what it needs for salt. Risotto is a dish that you can very easily over season because, well, your one bite, your sample bite, isn't gonna be salty. By the time you're done eating a whole bowl of it, that salt's gonna compound on itself. A slightly under-seasoned risotto is better than a slightly over-seasoned risotto in the long run. I think that's perfect right there. All right, so now that everything's tasting delicious, it's time to plate it up. I like going with a nice spoonful in a bowl. It's gonna naturally kind of flatten out. And you'll see I'll give it a little tap to give it a hand, making it have a nice smooth top to it. Just gently tapping the bottom of the bowl helps give you a nice clean top. We got our lemon creme fraiche here. I got it in a squeeze bottle just so we can get some nice little dots all over it. That way you get a little bit in every bite. If you're doing this at home, obviously a spoon with just drizzling it works perfectly fine as well. You don't have to get as crazy. A couple of these maple candied walnuts, we want to just crush them up. And then we got a couple of sage chips that we're gonna finish garnishing it up. The sage is gonna complement the beet really nicely.
All right, slide it forward here. Let's take a look.
All right, and we're gonna dig in and give it a try here. So creamy, so delicious.
All right, Matt, well, thanks for showing us. Would you like to come back, Matt?
Absolutely.
I'd like you to come back too, especially if you're gonna be bringing those candied walnuts every time. You know what I mean? Delicious. But wow, look at that.
All right, we'll see everybody later. Thanks for joining me today.